Hi, I'm Melissa, and I have a story about food fights at a prestigious university.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm going to tell you the story of the real Indiana Jones.
What does all this have to do with the word school? Find out in this episode of History Bluffs. Welcome to another episode of History Bluffs. It's where truth is stranger than fiction. And now I want to welcome to the show, it's your host, it's Alan!
Hello! Welcome to yet another example of history, or is it? Because someone might be bluffing. Actually, someone is bluffing.
Definitely, there's definitely one bluff.
What a convoluted introduction, but welcome to History Bluffs. I am your host, Alan. We've got three historians here, and yeah, as Adam said earlier, the topic for today is school. So we're going to school you with two of these historians because they know what they're talking about. And our third historian, well, that person is going to somehow mislead you on their story. So who knows what that story is going to be about, but we will get to it once we introduce the rules of the game. Adam, let's throw up those rules so everyone sees them.
You got it. Let's bring the rules up for this lovely game show about history. And if you can't see them because you're listening on the audio podcast, Alan is going to tell you.
That's right. Historians will be inspired by a topic. The true stories will be factual. The bluff story will be fictional. And please, no help from you, the audience, because cheaters never prosper. Right, Adam?
They never do. Not in this timeline. Not in
our reality.
Not in our
all.
reality.
No, sir. Okay, you know what? Before we get to the rounds, we got to tell you how long these rounds are. The first round is how many seconds, Adam?
We have 75 seconds on round one's clock.
5 seconds, and then we're going to have a full minute for round two, right?
That's correct, 60 seconds.
And then our final round will be 45?
That's right, 45 seconds for the final, the third round to finish them out.
Yeah, to round it off. And then also, if you're following us on YouTube or Twitch or whatever video streaming service you're watching us on, you will see this little device above our heads, and that is called the Round Tracker. What version, Adam?
I think this is the 1251.
This is the 1251. Fancy. All right, you guys are in for a treat. So, our topic today is school. And I want to go right into round one, Adam. You ready?
Oh, man, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Round number one. And here we are.
Here we are. We're going to put 75 seconds on the clock.
We could do 75.
Yeah, let's do 75. And Darren, you're going to be up first, and you're going to school us. You ready, Darren?
Yeah, that's good. I was going to say, I wrote 75 seconds worth of stuff down. So
good.
Oh, that's good.
Convenient.
He's prepared. Perfect. It's like he went to school about it. Oh. I'll stop right there. All right. Alan, shall I give Darren the floor?
Let's give him the boom.
The year was 2003. The Spitzer Space Telescope was launched from Cape Canaveral. MySpace was launched on the internet, and I got friended by Tom. The United States invaded Iraq, and most importantly for my story, School of Rock, starring Jack Black, was released, grossing $150 million worldwide on a $25 million budget, becoming the top-grossing music-themed comedy of all time until being eclipsed by Pitch Perfect in 2012. Now, if you haven't seen School of Rock, which I don't believe, it's about a down-and-out guy who can't pay his rent, but man, he could really shred the guitar. And so he takes a job as a substitute teacher at a high school as a music teacher. It's like the perfect Hollywood formula. And let's face it, it's the perfect role for Jack Black. I can only imagine the casting instructions. They're like, we're looking for a spastic goofball who jumps around a lot, makes faces, and plays air guitar, right? But as perfect of a Hollywood setup as this all sounds, Dewey Finn, Jack Black's character in School of Rock, was inspired by a real person. and I'll tell you about him in the next segment.
So we know that School of Rock is a real movie, but that thing at the end that Darren added, we don't know if that's verifiable. Melissa, what do you think?
Yeah, it sounds true so far. I really like this movie. All of that rings true or sounds true. So I give him an A right now. He's an A standing.
Oh, A in our school topic. Chris, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I agree with Melissa. That all sounds true. My hair is up in a ponytail right now, so you can't tell, but my hair is down. I'm frequently told that I resemble Jack Black. So I want to hear some more of this story to find out if I think that might be true or not.
Okay. Well, we've got some suspicions, but no accusations as of yet. We're going to move on to Melissa. Melissa, you are also going to get the same 75 seconds that Darren and everyone else gets because we treat our historians equally. And you're going to hear a cannon shot and start it off.
When you ask somebody for their top universities in the United States, most people would put Harvard at the top of the list in terms of academics. But did you know that Harvard also has a long history of food-related conflicts and riots? Harvard is the place of the first documented student protest on American soil in what became known as the Butter Rebellion of 1766. And that's 10 years before the United States even became a country. So the whole context of that conflict was they had a hard time getting fresh food for the students at Harvard. And several seniors started a movement, and this is according to the Harvard Gazette, had the slogan, "The butter stinketh. Give us therefore butter that stinketh not." And the leader of this movement was Asa Dunbar, who was the grandfather of Henry David Thoreau, which famous writer and author. And he apparently stood in the cafeteria on top of a chair and proclaimed that. And it just picked up momentum. And this kind of rebellion went on for a month. The Sons of Harvard, which was an offsplit of the Sons of Liberty, were involved. And you'll have to wait for part 2 for what happens next.
A food riot involving Thoreau's grandpa. Chris, what do you think?
I think that I really want this to be true, so I hope it is. I mean, the quote alone, "The butter stinketh, give us butter that butter that stinketh not," or whatever it was, that should be taught more in history.
Yeah, it should. If it's true. Darren, what do you think?
I'm surprised with the way that Bostonians and everyone in that area brag about their participation in the revolution in that time period that we haven't heard more about the Boston Butter Party.
Good point. Very good point. Hey, speaking of good points, I think we should give Chris a chance to tell his round 1 story with a 75-second time limit, starting with a cannon.
Okay. It was the early 1920s, and the young adventurer William Montgomery McGovern became one of the few Westerners who managed to sneak into Lhasa, the forbidden city of Tibet. To reach Lhasa, McGovern disguised himself as a servant and crossed the Himalayas in the middle of winter with Tibetan guides. During the journey, they got lost and trapped in a snowstorm, and McGovern came down with dysentery. Arriving in Lhasa, he revealed his identity to the local government officials, who gave him a place to stay. But the locals did not like Westerners to begin with at all, and they certainly did not want Westerners in their city, in the forbidden city of Lhasa in Tibet. So a mob of angry monks discovered his presence, and they tried to kill him by hurling stones, big rocks, at his building. He escaped only by putting on his servant's disguise that he got into the city in the first place and snuck out of the back door, joined the crowd throwing stones at his own house. By the end of that decade, McGovern would begin a 35-year career teaching at Northwestern University. More to come on this Indiana Jones inspiration in round 2.
Interesting. What do you think, Darren?
It sounds kind of like he's combining 7 years in Tibet and Oregon Trail. So he's stuck in Tibet, and then he died of dysentery.
Yeah, that's interesting. Melissa, what do you say?
Yeah, I was going to say it sounds kind of like a combination of those things, but I was going to add in a little bit of like James Bond with the disguises and the double agent thing. So there's movie magic here for sure.
Yeah, this all seems very cinematic, and at the beginning of the show, he said it was a real-life Indiana Jones character, so I don't know. It sounds very, very scripted. We're not sure, but I think we're definitely sure that we're done with this round, Adam.
Yes, we are.
So let's move on.
Oh, you're the boss. Let's do it. Hey, everybody, let's go to round number 2. Hey, we're back, Alan.
Yes,
we're
we
back.
are.
And we're in round number 2.
We're in round 2, where the time has been reduced to a mere minute. Darren, we want to hear more about your story about the School of Rock.
Okay. In 1981 in Edmonton, Alberta, the music teacher for the St. Albert Academy suddenly became ill and had to take early retirement. St. Albert Academy is an expensive private middle school, which in Canada is grades 7 and 8. And so Peter Cullen, the principal, was unable to find a qualified teacher on such short notice. So he called his cousin, who was a record producer from nearby Calgary, for help. His cousin had been working with a band called the Northern Pikes and was acquainted with their lead guitarist, a guy named Glenn Hollingsworth. Band was struggling to get some traction, and so Glenn agreed to meet because he needed the money. And after learning that Glenn had studied engineering at university, Cullen made him an offer to fill in for the remainder of the semester. Because he thought he was obviously very smart and he must be a decent musician because he's working with his cousin. But Glenn didn't know anything about children's music, so instead he taught them music that he knew. And to his surprise, the kids didn't want to learn old-fashioned songs anyway. They wanted to learn music that they liked.
Melissa, what's your opinion here?
Yeah, everything seems really, really in sync with the actual movie, almost a little too in sync. There you go.
Nice. Okay.
Chris, what's your opinion?
Well, interesting. Again, throwing out some very good detail. 1981, Edmonton, Alberta, St. Albert Academy. And then Peter Cullen, the principal. So he's telling us that the principal was calling around to try to find a replacement teacher.
Interesting. Because Adam and I would refer to that as the voice actor that played Optimus Prime.
That's right.
But no one else got that reference. That's
Nobody else did. I'm just like, wow, is this the Peter Cullen? Oh, I'm so interested. I'm highly invested.
Probably wasn't the head of
Probably
St.
not.
Albert Academy in 1981.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, that was before Transformers. Probably wasn't getting much work then.
Well, he was. He was the voice of Mario on the Donkey Kong cartoon, so he couldn't have been doing this.
It is the right of all sentient beings to do their homework on time. That's my it's a terrible.
Education is the right of all sentient beings.
Hey.
Hey.
All right.
Hey.
Yes.
That's right, it's in Canada.
Melissa, I don't think you've gotten a chance yet in our second round. So let's give you a shot at giving some more details on this Harvard lampoon.
All right, so this is going on, and the president of Harvard is trying to get to the bottom of who started the movement, and he is unsuccessful. In fact, half of the student population of Harvard gets suspended in the quest to find who started the Butter Rebellion. In fact, it didn't end until the governor of Massachusetts got involved and spoke at their chapel. But this was not the end of food-related conflicts at Harvard. In 1807, there was another rebellion over the quality of cabbage that was given to students. And this started this whole thing where there were 17 expulsions over this riot that they had this tree that was by Hollis Hall and later became known as Rebellion Elm for Harvard students. So now we're going to fast forward to 1818. That is where the kind of bigger event that happened in Harvard food-related fights happened. And that's part 3.
Harvard food fights. Darren, what'd you think?
I think this is still going on today. I mean, it's in the news. Like Columbia is doing their classes remotely for the rest of the semester. And do they just need real butter? Is that what's going on? Or is there just too much margarine? Too much soy butter? Is that the problem?
I don't know how many artificial butters they had back then, Darren. That's
No, I mean today.
Oh, today, yes.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Well, Chris, what do you think?
Well, the second iteration of the food fight was about over the cabbage quality at Hollis House or Hollis Hall. So I even if this is not true, I give Melissa props for alliteration.
Yeah. Oh, very good.
Well,
All right.
I know that the origin of the movie Animal House was by writers from the Harvard Lampoon, which became the National Lampoon, and there was a famous food fight in the movie. So that's just a little factoid I knew about.
Yeah.
Interesting. Chris, you haven't gone yet for round 2. You ready?
I am ready.
All right, listen for that cannon.
Okay. There it is. So we started off in the early 1920s. A few years later, McGovern ventured to South America, spending 2 years trekking into the heart of the Amazon jungle, exploring ancient Incan ruins in the Andes. His 1927 book, Jungle Paths and Inca Ruins, chronicles the expedition, and he describes shooting and killing a 28-foot anaconda that charged his boat, living on monkey meat and great fuzzy caterpillars, and one group member's unfortunate drowning. He spent time with indigenous Indian tribes in the Amazon basin, and he took part in a sacred Jurupari ritual, which supposedly banished evil spirits and cured illnesses, featured eerie trumpet music and hallucinogenic drink. During World War II, McGovern used his knowledge of Asia to serve as an intelligence advisor with the U.S. military, leaving Northwestern from 1941 to 45, earning the rank of commander in the Naval Reserve and advising the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Okay. In this story, Chris has an advisor to the Joint Chiefs. Right, Chris?
That's right.
Someone's
As opposed
getting advised.
to someone else
Oh, yeah.
on the other side.
Oh. Interesting.
Okay.
And we're in the Andes, which is very close to Argentina, which is very close to. I'm just connecting dots.
Germans there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Melissa, what'd you think?
Yeah, no, this is like kind of turning a page for me, and from the Temple of Doom to maybe Temple of Do Not Believe for sure. So I deserve a trombone on that. Oh, I got a cymbal, not a trombone.
See, sometimes
Rim
I'm
shot.
generous. I'm generous.
Okay, Darren, what'd you think?
I think it's interesting that he went from smoking joints with the Chiefs to advising the Joint Chiefs.
He rolls them big.
He's got a theme going. He's got a theme.
He
Where are the
does.
Joints? Where are the Chiefs? Let's go there. All right. Hey, Adam, look. That round 2
What?
looks all full.
That happened fast. Look, here we
It
are.
did, didn't it?
It did. That
Well,
can only
means we have to
mean
move on.
we have to go to round number 3.
All right, round
It's
3.
the final round where we find out how these stories end.
Yes, 45 seconds on the clock for
Yikes.
Darren. I want to hear your final chapter of this story involving the School of Rock inspiration.
Okay.
Here we go.
So Glenn Hollingsworth was also the guy in his band that did the sound engineering. And after hearing the kids play their rendition of his kind of music, he thought other people would like to hear it. So he convinced Peter Cullen's cousin, who remember worked as a record producer, to loan him some recording equipment so they could record their songs in the school gymnasium, which he reckoned had perfect acoustics. And so in the spring of 1981, Glenn Hollingsworth recorded a band of middle school children playing songs like Cream's Born Under a Bad Sign, and of course, School's Out by Alice Cooper, and Another Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd, and anything like that you can think of. And they actually released it as a series of LPs in Canada.
Whoa. That means there's recorded evidence that this person exists.
Aha.
Melissa, what do you think?
So was that like the first version of Kids Bop? where it's like kids singing to like. Interesting. Yeah.
It is. Chris, what do you say?
Well, yeah, I mean, he gives us a very solid foundational story with, that Glenn Hollingsworth is the inspiration for Dewey Finn. And I just think it just comes down to, do we believe him or not?
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Wait,
Dewey.
is that a... Oh, geez.
That's okay.
Did I miss it?
Find the sound.
It was,
It
was a little.
I did it. It was a little
Subtle.
one. And
Did you do one of your subtle? Okay.
I did.
There you go. Better late than
Character.
never.
There we go.
Adam, just for your Adam, the character Dewey Finn, do we believe him or not? That's what I want.
Oh, just see. Okay. See, that's the thing.
Dewey was
It's
the-
funnier since you explain it.
Yeah. That's my favorite kind of comedy.
Not really. Not really.
Verbose
It's okay.
comedy.
Adam has a lot of responsibilities here. It's
Welcome
not
to the
as easy
verbose
as it
comedy
sounds.
hour.
All right, we got a third story.
Sorry.
We've heard two, right? For round
No.
three?
No. Only
That was
one.
good.
It's
Just the one. Okay, well then the round tractor is
Yeah.
accurate. Very nice. Okay.
hey, how do you like
it's
that?
doing his job.
Oh, maybe I missed a sound cue, but look at me go.
There you go. Okay, Melissa. We want you to wrap up your story, which involves the stinky butter or whatever kind of riots that are going on at Harvard about their cafeteria quality.
Here we go.
Okay, so now it's 1818, and a new dining hall had just been created a couple years earlier, and the design of the cafeteria was not perfect because it actually led to more kind of sneaky behaviors from the students. And on this particular day in 1818, there was no supervision, or as the Harvard students called it, no government in the cafeteria. So it started with the sliced bread being flung across the room, and it escalated to chunks of wood. And because they're Harvard, they wrote a little poem to publish in the Gazette about it and said, "And thus arose a fearful battle, the coffee cups and saucers rattle." And 2 to 4 suspensions resulted. And then they met at the tree. 12 more people got suspended. And then the entire sophomore class resigned in solidarity from Harvard because of the suspension.
Whoa. Chris, what do you say?
Wow. That's what I say. I say, wow. In 1818, so they wrote that, and first of all, no government in the cafeteria. They are known for trying to keep government out of putting their hands in everything that we do up there. But I have a hard time. Well, and also when she mentioned the lyrics, I just said to myself, so I'm doing the math. 1818. I wonder, was Francis Scott Key part of that class of 1818? I
Is that a legit question or a joke? I couldn't even decipher it.
I erred on the side of caution.
It was a legit question, but Adam thought it was fun.
I'm like, there's a
Francis
joke
Scott
I don't
Key,
get
all
here.
right, folks? Hey.
I can't. I'm so done.
Melissa, you had something to chime in about? I think you had something to say.
I don't know about that, but there was, I didn't get a chance to mention, Ralph Waldo Emerson was part of that sophomore class, and he had to actually reapply.
Aw, poor
Oh.
Emerson. I wonder what happened to that guy.
He went on. Go on to hang out with Lake and Palmer.
Oh, now that's a joke, Adam. Good
There
one.
you go.
I got
Aaron,
it.
what do you say?
Oh,
Well, I was struck by the fact that she specifically said they threw sliced bread, which pre-sliced bread wasn't invented for another 100 years. And then she said they switched to wood. And I'll say that wood from that time period and bread would have been indistinguishable. So there'd be no need to upgrade to wood.
oh wow, yeah. Hardtack is basically a 2x4.
Correct.
That's
Now, Darren, these are Harvard students. They probably
Oh.
figured out how to slice bread on their own and then throw it.
Right,
So,
right.
You don't leave a pile of pre-sliced bread. Nobody does that. You slice the piece you need.
They did. They sliced the pieces they need to throw.
they were. See,
Oh,
they
that's
were
a slow food fight. Hold on. I'm
Yeah.
slicing.
my knife's dull. Need a new knife. Yeah.
All right, I think we got one more historian to
We
go,
do.
right, Chris?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's hear about this potential inspiration for Harrison Ford's famous character.
All right. So McGovern began teaching political science classes at Northwestern in 1929 as an associate professor. By that time, he had already made national headlines for his daring travels in Asia and South America. He spoke 17 languages and published at least 11 books, became a full professor in 1936, and continued to teach at Northwestern until his death in 1964 at age 67. McGovern's portrait still hangs at Northwestern, nestled among the political science department's offices at Scott Hall. Next to the painting is a note by Professor Emeritus Kenneth Jonda, who sums up McGovern's life this way: he was a brilliant teacher, a noted scholar, and an authentic adventurer. In a phrase, he was the prototypic Indiana Jones.
Interesting. Melissa, what do you think of that story?
Yeah, impressive guy. But my question is, why was he teaching political science and not something related to archaeology or something? That's
Good question. Darren, what do you say?
Well, Northwestern, I believe, is in Illinois, if I'm not mistaken.
Evanston, Illinois. Yep.
So you're saying that Indiana Jones is inspired by Illinois McGovern?
Wait, what?
Good point.
That's what I'm saying.
Or is it?
Rolls off the tongue. Illinois McGovern.
I don't
Illinois
think
McGovern.
Illy!
Illy Junior.
We called the dog Illinois.
We called it
Illinois Senior.
See, the script writes itself.
All right, Adam, I see all those round trackers have filled up. That means we got to move on.
Oh, they sure have.
Accuse each other of who is and who is not the bluff.
Oh.
We're going to start with you, Darren. Who do you think is bluffing?
Well, that's a damn good question.
The man is stumped.
I'm gonna have to go with Melissa, just because, as pretentious as Harvard students can be, I can't picture the sophomore class resigning over a food fight.
Fair. Okay. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, this is also tough for me because the Dewey Finn inspiration of Glenn Hollingsworth. There's some elements to that story that I find a little bit far-fetched or sketchy. But the whole, the Butter Rebellion's a great name. And then the No Government in Cafeteria comment in 1818 by Ralph Waldo Emerson and that class. And I come back to the whole sophomore class resigning en masse as well. I agree with Darren. I think Melissa is this week's bluff.
Ooh, a double vote for Melissa. Melissa, now's your time for vengeance on one of these historians that would dare accuse you of bluffing.
Wow.
What do you say?
Yeah, no, that just makes me want to throw food now. Throw lots of food. Let me see. I think that both of them had elements of truth, and both had interesting people that I want to be true so badly. However, I do think that Chris's story has a lot of details that I find almost unbelievable. So for that reason, I'm going to say that Chris's story is the Raiders of the Lost Malarkey.
Good one.
That's good.
Melissa with the malarkey pun. I don't know the answer here, but you know who does? It's our tech Adam. What do you say, Adam?
I say I do have the answer because I possess the secret knowledge of which of these three historians are bluffing. Was your bluff Darren? Could your bluff have been Melissa? Or was your bluff Chris? Behold, for the reveal is upon us. Your bluff has been Darren.
Oh, what?
Yes. Oh, you didn't
Did
know.
Darren get away scot-free?
I think he did. Did he? Oh,
He did.
Congratulations.
That is a successful bluff on Darren's part, making up the origin of the School of Rock
Well
inspiration. But what that means is that this guy from Northwestern did inspire Indiana Jones. Check that dude out.
Yeah, that's an interesting story. Wow.
And also Henry David Thoreau's grandpa was not a fan of Harvard's butter.
A butter rebellion.
He was a butter thrower.
Butter
Butter
Oh man, okay.
And one of sliced bread
I'm on
at
it.
that, Darren.
Maybe that's when they invented sliced bread, when they had to make a loaf go far enough for this protracted
Full loaf
conflict.
is just inhumane to throw across this.
You just never
mess
go
hall.
full loaf.
Never go full loaf.
No, that's
We're
what they say.
Harvard fellows, after
Yeah,
all. Anyway, great job, everybody. Awesome.
For
I didn't
real.
know- I didn't know who was. Fun. What do you say, Adam?
I say that's about time to wrap it up. So, Alan, hey, thank you for hosting this fantastic show about school. And thank you for the three historians, Darren and Melissa and Chris, for teaching us a thing or two about school. And also for pulling the wool over our eyes, Darren, well done. We are History Bluffs. Tune in next week and also listen to past episodes where you get your podcasts. Learn something and laugh. See you next time.